Hello, it's me, Thin Rich. Just saying I'm hoping that I'll be presenting the next series of RHLSTP, but not this fat guy you've got doing this time. Anyway, this episode, presented by Fat Rich, is starring Susie Ruffell. Thanks so much for backing the Kickstarter if you did. We made our target, so that's fantastic. We paid for half of the podcast this year. You can help us pay for the others by becoming a monthly badger at gofasterstripe.com/badges. Give what you like at the moment. It is going to become a fixed amount soon, so be quick. You'll still get all the benefits if you get in now. Or you can subscribe to change your energy company to Bulb Energy, which is something I did a couple of years ago. I've been very pleased with them. They're not sponsoring us. I'm just a satisfied customer, and you'll probably get cheaper energy. It's renewable. They've got great customer service. And if you use this link that's on the screen now, you will get a £50 credit in your account, and so will I. And from now on, that £50 credit is going to go into the podcast bank to fund more podcasts, because I have enough electricity for the rest of my life. Thank you very much for that, everyone. So do go. I do recommend them. They're probably cheaper. It's like a magic money tree. You'll get money. I'll get money, and you'll get cheaper, probably cheaper energy. Do check into that. There's lots of comparison sites, so you can find out about that. Also, I'm on tour. Head to richardherring.com/gigs, and you can see if RHLSTP is coming near to you. It's in Leeds on May the 11th and Salford on May the 25th. Both nearly sold out on May the 11th. We've got Paddy and Marlon from Emmerdale and Ricky Wilson from off of the Kaiser Chiefs. And in Salford, we've got Sarah Millican, who's always fantastic value, and Jimmy Cricket from the 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, 2000 and 2010s. He's fantastic. I saw his show the other day, and he's still in fantastic form. There's more. There is more. So look, come along, see all the tour dates. Edinburgh as well, or 2nd of August, 25th of August, Newtown Theatre at richardherring.com/gigs. Let's sit back, relax, and enjoy Susie Ruffell on RHLSTP. Look at this. I mean, there's quite a lot under there as well still. It's not over yet, don't worry. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Leicester Square Theatre. Please welcome a man who now only works Mondays. It's Richard Herring! Thank you very much. Hello. How lovely to be here. Welcome to another episode of Richard Herring Lists Smelly Toilets podcast. I just think it's important to keep things moving. It's a very competitive market now, podcast, so you've got to just have a unique selling point, and mine is to list smelly toilets. The first one I'm going to list is the one backstage in dressing room one. It smells very bad. That's the only one I've got so far. It might be a less entertaining podcast than usual. Though I was talking to the man who pretends to be Pikachu in Leicester Square. Dresses up and has photos taken, usually with children. He asked me why I wanted a photo with him, and I said, because, I like you. And he calls it RHLSTP anyway. That's going to catch on. So many people to choose from out there. Merlin Trotter, the tarot reader, is my personal favourite. There was a woman out there just called Alice. It just had a name. It said Alice on a little tub. I don't know if you had seen the street performers out in Leicester Square. She was just a lady sitting with a toy cat on her head and a little tray in front of her saying Alice. And I think that was it. I think that's she wanted you to put money in there. I don't know what happened if you put money in. Look out for her. She's going to be big. I've turned into a house husband. I got sacked from the one other job I was doing this year by Tim from The Office. And so now I've been, because I'm at home, so I've got to look after the kids. It's terrible. No, it's good. I'm enjoying being a dad. It's a wonderful thing. Don't ever have children. And my daughter made me very proud the other day. We went to an activity farm near where we live, and she was playing in a playground. And she's very confident, my daughter, which I hope will not get knocked out of her by life. There was
a little girl got on the climbing frame with it, and my daughter went, hello, and the girl went, hello, and she said, I'm Phoebe, and the girl didn't say anything. She didn't want to be friends, but it's good she's confident, and she said, this is what made me proud, she said, I do funny jokes sometimes. Come on, that's her defining quality, 4 years old. And what I liked about it is she put sometimes in there, because that's good, because if the girl had come back and said, well, do a funny joke, then she'd go, well, no, I'm not always going to, it's just sometimes. And she was driving, she got on these little cars, electric cars, you put a pound in and it drives around, and she was really good, right? She was like, she kept on driving towards the other cars, oh God, she's going to crash, and then she would just steer around it, and it really excellent. I was very impressed, because I don't aware that she's driven anything before, and at the end, we went through the gift shop and we didn't buy her anything, so she obviously had a strop. I can understand. That's what I used to be like. Yeah, that guy is with me. So she was, and as we were driving, she was crying. I said, "Come, we had a great time, and you were brilliant. You were brilliant on those cars. You're a better driver than I am." And she said to me, "Well, why can't I drive then?" She said, you can't really argue with that, can you? So I nearly let her, and. My dad let me drive once when I was about 4 or 5. I remember we were on holiday in the Isle of Arran, and we're driving around quite a cliff, rocky kind of cliff. And my dad sat me on his knee. So I must have been tiny. I must have been about the same age. And I thought, when you've seen people drive, it's just that, innit? So I just did that, literally did that, and nearly drove us off the road and killed us all. My dad doesn't remember that. He doesn't remember the many times he tried to kill us. Anyway, look, I'm going to crack on. As of today, 56 days without an alcoholic drink. Yeah, I drank a lot during the podcast last year, to be fair, so a lot of it's still in my system. Actually, I didn't drink very much, but I got very drunk. And 56 days without chocolate, imagine that. But look at the results. I was much fatter, even fatter before. Imagine that. Can you imagine? Are you imagining it? Yeah, good, you've got a good imagination, because I'm very thin now. So I'm 17 pounds lighter than I was at the start of the year. That's not too bad, as it's saying. All of my audience of men. It can be done. So, nothing wrong with carrying a bit of weight. So, my guest this week, in this one show we're doing this week, is best known, probably, I think, for being on the poster of the Rich Herring show, What Is Love Anyway? That's why we're all here. She's one of the female scientists taking out my heart on the What Is Love poster. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Susie Ruffle! Welcome.
That was formal.
It was very formal. You've got to be formal these days. You have to be careful.
I didn't know we were going to shake hands.
Yes, you have to shake hands. That's
Good.
all you're allowed. Even that is too much in this day. And am I
didn't
right?
like it
In
at
this
all,
day and
yeah.
age. What do you remember about being? You must have been very excited to be on my poster back in 2000.
Yeah.
That must have been a thrill for you.
Big day for me, yeah. Me and your wife.
Yeah.
And Hannah Woman.
Yeah, Hannah Warman. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're taken to an industrial unit some way from the Hanger Lane
Yeah.
roundabout. I mean, I'd have been a bit scared if I'd been you. And then we went into a big. It was like, and there was lots of medical supplies in the.
Yeah, and like
skeletons
fake
and things in there.
Bits of bodies and
Yeah.
stuff. Well, we think it was fake.
Yeah. It's very strange. Thank you for coming, and well done for escaping my trap.
Yeah.
My wife wasn't as lucky. She had to marry me.
I get in touch with her occasionally to make sure she's all right.
Yeah. Do people come up to you and go, "Are you that woman off the poster, the Rich Herring Love What Is Love Anyway poster?" Has that ever happened to you?
Would you like me to say yes?
Yeah. No, I'd like an honest answer.
No, never.
Okay. So, lovely to have you on. We have known you you've been doing stand-up quite a while now, and it's sort of all kind of happening now, I would say, for you, isn't it? This last couple of years has been quite good.
Yeah.
But it takes a long time to get going. How did you get started in stand-up? Was it about that time, 2009?
It's about 10 years ago.
10
so
years ago,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. I started off by... I was doing a bit of acting.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I say a bit of acting. My phone was not ringing. And so I tried stand-up and loved it.
What were you doing before? Was it just acting? Did you do any other jobs before you
Oh,
came
yeah,
to-
loads of them.
What did you
Loads of shit jobs.
do? Yeah.
I've worked in a dinky donut van.
Dinky donut.
A dinky donut van. I've worked in my auntie's burger van, live and let fry.
Okay. Any outside of van work?
Some.
Yeah, good.
Worked in a lot of shit shops.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to say that when you work there. Yeah, I've done like lots of bar work. I think that if I hadn't become a comic, I would have become a really good barman.
Yeah.
Woman. Bar person. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I did a lot of bar work and just in between when I went to after university. Yeah, I worked in bars and I quite liked it.
Yeah,
I got
quite
sacked
like...
from one bar.
What for?
Just I think like he didn't like my attitude.
I'm not a massive fan of it.
And I didn't. I didn't iron my shirt, and he didn't like that. And I
Sackable.
said, "Well, you're paying me £25 a week. I can't afford an iron, mate. You want to give me an iron? I'll iron my shirt." But the other pub really liked me, so I stayed there.
Okay.
And you can steal quite a lot. I was talking to you backstage about me stealing because we were talking about Portsmouth.
Yeah, you were talking about stealing from students.
Yeah,
Right?
I was.
Wasn't good. I wouldn't put this on the podcast.
But also, you could steal. I found it quite easy to steal money from pubs that I worked in.
That's
as well.
not okay.
Because
I appreciate that I've really gone to town on my working class roots for
Yeah.
stand-up, but
yeah.
you can't get me into this.
I was quite good at stealing stuff. I don't think when I was see, I don't think this is.
Are we all right with this? I don't know. Is this?
When I was in Bath, I told a story in Bath where I stole some money from. I didn't steal it. I just acquired some money. And it's the same story
stole
happened
it,
in
you
Portsmouth.
100% stole
In
it.
Portsmouth, I took like 30 rich language students who'd come to.
You don't know that they were rich.
Yeah, they
Their
were.
parents
They had
might put
money
the
to
last
burn.
bit of money
They were
to go,
rich.
no, he must go and learn English somewhere, not here. I don't know where here is. But we will give all of our money for him to
They
go.
were all rich, and we went to the woman who ran the school said, "Take the money off them before you get them, pay at the booth." There's no concessions. Everyone has to buy an adult ticket. So I got them. They told me how much that was. I got the money off everyone for the adult ticket. When I got to the booth, everyone was happy. I got to the booth. The woman said, "Are they students?" And I went, "Yeah." And then it was like 30, 40, 50 pounds cheaper in total. I couldn't go back and give everyone 99p, could I?
But you could have. You could have just
I
said.
could not have done
You could have
that.
bought everyone a cup of tea.
I could have done, but it would have been time-consuming. We had to look around. We had to look around HMS Victory. I was very focused on my job.
And what do you remember about HMS Victory?
There
You took it in then.
was a cannon on it.
There's a lot of cannons.
Yeah, I remember it being an old boat. Lord Nelson was on it.
What, when you went?
Yeah.
I know you're a lot older than me, but fucking hell.
So, but when I worked in pubs, what you could do, this is a tip for anyone who's working in the 1980s in a bar. You just rung up whatever the drinks were. You could just ring up like £1 less than it was, and then take £1, put it in your sock. No one knew. And during that time, I stayed in my college accommodation that summer, and I think they forgot to charge me for that as well. So I didn't pay for an accommodation, and I was
You're not coming across great.
And
just FYI.
I was banking more money than I was earning. Never got caught. Jack the Ripper. Bragging about my crimes. Come and get me. Anyway, Portsmouth's nice. You're from Portsmouth.
I'm from
so were these
Portsmouth.
places in Portsmouth you're working? Or were
The
you,
Dinky Donut van was, and my auntie's burger van was.
Was the van dinky or were the donuts dinky? Were
The-
you in a very small van
I
serving
was in
regular-sized donuts?
I would have preferred that.
Yeah.
But I was in a regular van.
Selling
so
small
donuts. 10 for £1.
Well, you claim that I'm the thief here. Sell normal-sized donuts. Stop selling little tiny... 10 for £1. They probably cost you 90p. That's 10p you're making there.
But it is business.
Yeah, so stealing from students.
Apparently so.
What's the best thing about Portsmouth? I was going to ask you about who's your favourite person who was born in Portsmouth?
Susie Ruffle.
Yeah. After yourself?
Anne Ruffle.
Okay. How far back in Portsmouth did the Ruffle family go?
Generations.
Generations.
I don't know anyone that's not from Portsmouth.
Really?
In the family.
Wow.
Like my granddad considered moving about 20 miles up the road, and everyone went, "Oh, don't do that. We'll never see you." And that was it. They didn't move.
Charles Dickens was born in Portsmouth?
He was born there, but he left, I think, moments after his birth.
Did he?
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, fuck this."
Isambard Kingdom Brunel was born in Portsmouth?
Yeah, there's a road named after him.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Okay.
H.G. Wells wrote some books in Portsmouth.
Yeah, all right.
It's popular. Popular with... Do you know that Helen Duncan, the last person imprisoned under the 1735 Witchcraft Act, was from Portsmouth.
Great aunt.
Do you want to know what? Do you want to know what year it was?
Yeah, go on.
1944.
What?
Helen Duncan was the last person imprisoned under the 1735 Witchcraft Act, and it was
What did she do?
1944. She was a medium, so she did stuff with tarot cards and like Merlin Trotter. I think she talked,
Spoke to the dead.
communed with the dead, and so the people of Portsmouth are terrified of
Like
that.
Psychic
and locked
Sally?
her up. Like what?
Psychic
Yes,
Sally?
I like Psychic Sally, but the people of Portsmouth at least locked this woman up. Whereas Psychic Sally seems to walk free, or she died now.
No, she's still going.
Yeah.
Well, if she's
talk
not,
to her
she
either
could-
way. Yeah.
Yeah. She'd still do her show. You can still get me on this channel.
Did you know about Helen Duncan?
No, I didn't, but I'm interested in her now.
It's good. What's your favourite tourist attraction in Portsmouth?
The house that Susie Ruffle grew up in?
Okay.
No. There's not that many good ones. Gunwolf's quite nice, but that's just for shopping.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's a tourist attraction.
Charles Dickens Birthplace Museum. You've been there?
I don't think it's a museum, is it?
I'm only going from Wikipedia.
Yeah, I think you might be wrong.
And they didn't mention HMS Victory in that, or I didn't notice it, so because I forgot it was in Portsmouth.
Yes, in Portsmouth. Yeah, it's not
Fine.
very... I think the pier's quite nice. You can go and play on the 2p pushy machines.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
There's piers everywhere.
Is this going well?
There's a pier. Better than usual.
Oh, cool.
It's all fine. I have a question. I think you can answer this because I think I've seen the answer. I have a new emergency question, which is, what is the worst thing a teacher at school ever said to you? But I think I know the answer to this question for you. But this is something that happened. We talked about this last week with one of the guests. I forget who.
Yeah, fuck them.
I forget who we had on last week. But your teacher said to you, "You will never amount to anything."
Yeah.
It's a terrible thing for a teacher to say.
Yeah. So you'll never amount to anything, Ruffle. And I said, I'll amount to more than you, wanker. And, got in. Basically, they called my mum and dad up the school. This is material, sorry. I did it on a telly thing. But they called my mum and dad up the school. Dad came up the school. They told my dad the story. And my dad said, what have you got to say for yourself? I said, well, he said I'd amount to nothing. So I called him a wanker. And my dad just looked at the headmaster and went, that does sound like the type of thing a wanker would do. And I got a letter of apology.
Did you? It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of weird that teachers can be so horrific.
Yeah, I went to a really shit school.
Yeah, but that's even more so.
Yeah.
It must be... I mean, it's difficult. I tried to... Whoever it was last week... Who was on the show last week? Who was it? James
Who's that?
James Acaster. He's a forgettable figure. But he...
No, do you know what? He's doing all right.
Is
Fair
he
play to him.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen his new stuff. It's all right.
He's... he had the same thing where his teacher said something appalling to him.
Yeah, it's out of order.
I mean, I think, like, teachers... I would have been a teacher if I hadn't done this.
What, stolen from all of the
Yes.
kids? Think of the money you could have made. Way more than this podcast.
Would have been good, because also if you're a teacher, you could just get there. They've all got pocket money for dinner, haven't they?
Yeah, you just have that
Just
now.
go, yeah. You say, I'm the new. You have to give me the dinner money now, and then
What, you just take in sandwiches you'd made?
I'd just say, give me the dinner money, and then here's a chitty, and you take that into the kitchen.
A chitty?
A chitty, yeah. I'd give him a
Sorry, are
chitty.
we back in the 1940s? What's a chitty?
A chitty. It's a while ago.
What's a chitty?
I'd give him a chitty, like a little
Like
chitty.
a chitty bang bang?
Chitty, a little chit.
A little
chit. A little chitty.
Are you having a stroke?
Chit. A chitty.
Sorry, by way of cheering, give me a cheer if you know what chitty is.
I know a chitty, yeah.
Okay, give me a cheer if you're under 30 and you know what chitty is. There we go.
Give me a cheer if you're under 30. Oh, there are some.
I'm not under 30, but I like to be with the
I'd
kids.
give them a piece of paper to take to the
Oh,
canteen.
like a chitty?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
okay.
And then when they got there, they go, no, that's not takeable. And then they come up to me and say, I don't know what you're talking about. But I do it every day. And then, yeah.
And how long before you think the parents would come in?
I reckon I could do it for a few years.
Whereas the children's got slimmer and slimmer.
Yeah. You think about some of the crimes that people have got away
Sorry,
with.
wait, you're saying to me that you think that a teacher telling me that I'd never amount to something is bang out of order.
Yeah.
But you think slowly starving children for your own benefit so you can reap the monetary rewards is absolutely fine.
Don't pay teachers enough, do they? So that would be a way of making some money back. You've got to try and encourage teachers to stay in the profession now. So you let them have the dinner money. That's what you just go. You turn a blind eye to that. Definitely. What were we talking about? Oh yeah. So yeah, that's. But I've read two things. One saying that you're the only person in your family to go to university, and one saying you didn't go to university. So
I didn't go to university.
Yeah, that's what
I'm the only person in my family to leave Portsmouth.
Okay. And you move. One of your shows is about this kind of moving from this working class.
The fact that I'm now sort of a middle class person, but I'm from sort of definitely working class heritage.
Yeah.
My dad was a coalman, and sort of his whole family sort of was Liverpool. No one went to school. Mum worked in like shops or factories, and so it's so it's sort of I live sort of a very different sort of life to my mum and dad. They're sort of But
also weirdly, and this is a weird development in the comedy scene. That's quite unusual amongst comedians, right? Like that you're kind of seen as being this working class voice amongst comedians. There aren't that many working class comedians at the moment.
There's not. No, I don't think there really is. Certainly, I've found that. Yeah, I've seen it, certainly sort of like when I've been up at the Edinburgh Festival, it's been sort of very, there's a lot of Oxbridge.
Yeah.
I was going to say Oxblood, but that's not the thing. Didn't go to uni, and so I've always to be a comic that sort of didn't go to uni and wasn't in like a comedy society or any of that stuff, and to come in for quite a different route. Yeah, I've always felt a little bit
because in the 80s, I think there were there was, and obviously traditionally comedy was a working class avenue to get places, and when alternative comedy came along, a lot of people pretended to be working class, but there were like a significant amount of actual working class comedians.
I think it's now because it's so expensive to as a comic you have to go to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
To sort of so people can see you and so you can improve and do 26 shows in 26 days and get better and better and better. So you've got to go, but it's so expensive. Last year I sold out my venue for the entire run and did 2 extra shows, and I was still £500 down. Like, it's so expensive because you've got to pay for like your room, you've got to pay for the room that you do your show in for an hour every day. Then you have to pay for your accommodation while you're up there. I have to pay for my rent when I'm still at home. Then I have to pay for my flyers, my photo shoot, my posters, and then you lose money throughout July because you're doing previews, so you're earning less money because you're saying to people, hey, come along for, pay £3 so I can try out all these different ideas on stage. And so every time, like the worst time I lost about $4,500, and you just have to go, okay, well, I really hope this career eventually works out because I'm putting everything I have into it, and I think
that's the game. That's the gamble, and a lot of comedians decide not to do it, and that's fine.
Yeah,
but I think you're right to make that progression in your career. You probably do need to.
But I don't know anyone that's broke through in the last sort of 10 years that hasn't done Edinburgh.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that a lot
Mrs. Brown's Boys.
Yeah. But I know
she might have done it.
She might have done Edinburgh.
Is it a woman or not? I don't know. No.
Yeah, but other than those sorts of phenomenon telly shows, and then a lot of people that are in stand up and great for them, but might have parents that own places in London, or they live with they can still live with their parents who live in London, all that sort of thing. So for me to sort of really make the leap into comedy, I was so broke for the first 6 years. So broke. So frequently I had to ring my mum and dad and be like, please lend me my rent for 2 weeks. And then I've got other gigs coming up, and I'd slowly be able to top them back up, give them the money back. And it's just, it's really hard when you've not got a really wealthy family behind you.
And I think it's because there's so many more people doing stand-up.
Yeah.
So in the 90s, when I came, the early 90s...
Yeah, any shit could get through.
Exactly. But there was hardly anyone doing it. So you could do a gig one week and get a paid gig at the same venue the next week. They'd say, "Can you come and headline this gig next week?" Sometimes. And now you'd have
you'd wait
for years. Yeah. You'd have to wait months for your next gig, but also there's so much competition. My rent was, I think, we shared a house, but I think my rent was £80 a week.
Mine's a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had a job and I earned £150 a week, so I had £70 to play with in the week. It was incredible. what a luxurious life I had. But yeah, but I suppose that is it. But it's sort of weird that that's the case. It's sort of disappointing that someone can be the working class voice of the comedy circuit and be kind of heralded as that. So it should be.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I sort of did that a bit myself, of being like, here's a slightly different viewpoint.
You do need that kind of angle now as a stand-up.
I think you need it certainly when you're sort of writing a show. Now I feel like I can just write a show of stand-up and hopefully people will come. But I think certainly when you're coming through and you're trying to make a name for yourself, it's like, it's about this thing. So that every time you do all these interviews on your way up to Edinburgh with all these magazines that you have to pretend you've heard of, and you have to sort of go, oh yeah, it's about this thing, and you can sort of sell that it's a thing that it's about, but you have to sort of have a hook to put everything on.
But it's good, you do mine your own life and your own experiences.
Yeah. I feel like I've mined a lot of it now.
Yeah,
I bet
but, it'll keep going.
I need some experiences.
It'll keep going. Don't worry. I've been doing it for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Things keep happening. Increasingly dull things. That's the problem. But you can make something out of that. So you're dyslexic.
Yep.
You're a woman. I mean, that's weird.
Yep. Yep.
You're a lesbian.
Yep. Full time.
Yeah. So these are all things you've talked about in your show. Well, not maybe necessarily the woman thing. Although.
I mean, it's obvious.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I mean, you think it's obvious, but if you look at some of my comments under YouTube videos, what's that fucking bloke talking about? How dare you? These are very tiny titties.
You do wear suits and things.
I do wear suits
very
on stage.
stylishly, though.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
In a
from
masculine
you.
way.
What?
I mean, look at this. I
like that a lot.
Look at these jeans. Didn't come cheap.
No, did you steal them from a student?
I buy most of my clothes from Tesco's now because I'm transitioning into a thin person. I identify as being thin.
Right.
And you have to accept me as being thin. But also, while I'm waiting for that to come through, it doesn't seem worth spending much money on clothes, to be honest. Though it's been a long time.
Yeah.
The clothes are falling apart as they wait for me to get thinner to go into the old clothes that would fit me.
Yeah, I wear suits on stage, so that's something I do, yeah.
Yeah. You had one handmade for you.
Yeah, how'd you know that?
I know everything about you. I do research, believe it or not. I was listening to your excellent podcast, and
thanks.
And you mentioned it, I think, in episode 1 of your podcast.
Well, I was doing that means that you've listened to all of them. Thanks. There's 217 of them, so I hope you've been through.
I listened to one and a bit of the most recent one.
Good for you.
So 1 and a bit
to see how much we'd improved.
Yeah.
Of just us two chatting. I went to a gay dinner. Mm-hmm. And
how's that different from a heterosexual dinner?
Oh, it's just very flouncy. Okay. More wine, more bitching. Okay. And I mean, it was for a charity. I shouldn't say that. And and I was sat next to sort of quite a fabulous man. He said, "I love how you dress," and I said, "Thank you." And he was a tailor, and he said, "I'll make you a suit." So he did, and I was like. It was during the the period where I was very poor, and I was like, I don't think I can afford a suit from you, but thanks all the same. And he was like, no, I'll gift you one. And so he made me a suit,
awesome.
and if you open up in the lapels, it says Susie Ruffle.
Did you have to go in like 3 or 4 times to have it
to be measured? Yeah.
It's exciting, isn't it? I did it for my I had a wedding suit.
I was at your wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the suit. It was lovely. I mean, I don't remember the suit.
But yeah, it's a very exciting thing to have it.
Yeah.
Al Murray bought me a suit because he kind of wished it had been me and him.
I've always got that vibe from you two.
Yeah. It could have been. We could have worked out. It could have happened. But I ended up with Katie. It's fine, in a way. I could have done with Al's money. He's been divorced quite a few times, though, so he hasn't got as much as he would have had. It's exciting getting a suit, though. It's
lovely.
That's an exciting prospect. So I'm going to ask you an emergency question.
Yeah,
I'm going to ask you a new one.
Ooh.
So in case you've been revising off the book. Let's see, what have I got for you? This is a difficult one. What's the best thing you've ever lost and then found again? It's a difficult question.
Oh, my cat.
Oh.
I lost Velma.
How did you lose your cat?
Well, she was just in a cupboard. But she's an indoor cat.
Yeah.
And she's very small. She's too small, really. But I don't say that in front of her. And she's got very large ears, so she can probably hear what I'm saying right now. But she's beautiful. She's an angel. She's a baby. She's a princess. She's a dream. And I love her more than anything. And I was getting ready, and sometimes... I didn't know this at the time, but she likes going in my wardrobe and sitting amongst the shirts. Because, you know, they're silk. And I couldn't find her. And I was, like, ringing my girlfriend being like, I've lost the cat. I don't know what happened. I must have been taking out the rubbish. And she must have got out. And then I was very emotional, and then I just had... my baby? Where are you, my baby?
Our cat is a house cat and did get out, and we're letting him in the garden a bit, and he's an idiot, our cat.
What's he called?
He's called Smithers. We had two. We had Lino, who looked like a lion, so I got to name her Lino, which my wife did not want.
I wouldn't have wanted
so
that
she got
either.
to name Smithers, so she named Smithers, but then Lino died.
I'm sorry.
Tragically.
How?
Well, they were both a bit inbred. They're beautiful cats. She was just too small, and she had a heart thing. And then, then we had to... I watched her die in front of me. It's the most terrible thing. When they well, you know, someone injected her with... It was an official vet. It wasn't...
It wasn't like a house party that went weird.
So that was sad. But Smithers... I wish Smithers had died. If I could have chosen...
I don't want to hear that.
If it had been Sophie's choice between... If they said one of your cats has to die...
It's not Richard's choice. That's not what it is.
There's a film, Smithers or Lino, wouldn't even have to think about it. Lino was lovely. Smithers is a dick. He wheezed in the tumble dryer.
Maybe it's because you say things like, I wish you had died. And then he's like, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to piss on your clothes before you even put them in there.
He's deaf, so that shows how stupid you are.
He might be able to lip read.
That's true. I hadn't
He might
thought
be doing
that.
tiny signing.
Given he can't, basically stay alive. But he once got out of the house, and I thought, I'm in, because Katie likes him. And he'd gone, and I thought, oh, fuck this. I'd left the gate open or something, and I thought, oh, I'm in trouble. Then I found him. He'd gone round the other side of the house, and he was okay. I was worried, only because I'd be in trouble with my wife. I was secretly hoping. Occasionally with the kids, you kind of occasionally hope. Two's a lot of work. What was the weirdest... Did we answer that? We did answer that question. What is the weirdest reason you ever skived off school? Did you ever skive off school? I'm feeling...
All the time.
I'm feeling yes.
Oh, I never really gave reasons. I just didn't go in.
Right.
So Mum would drop me off, and I'd wave, and then I'd fuck off. And I remember distinctly, one of my favourite things to do would be to go to Tesco's for a breakfast. So one day I went to Tesco's for breakfast, and as I was finishing, my mum and my nan walked in. And I was like, oh no. Mum went, oh, Suze, not again. Come and sit with us. See, I didn't have a lot of discipline growing up. Like I remember, and Mum and Dad are very supportive of me doing stand-up, but because I wasn't very academic at school, I think they were just like, oh, she'll work in a shop. You know, she'll stay in Portsmouth, she'll get married to a man, she'll have a baby, that'll be her life. And I remember when I was about 15, I said to Mum, I might go to university. And Mum went, oh, Suze, your brother's the clever one. You can tap dance. That was an alternative career choice. Well then I'll be Lionel Burr.
So at what point did you start thinking about being an actor, was it first?
Yeah, so because I found school so hard, my mum was like, oh, why don't you do some Amdram sort of stuff, amateur dramatics? And I went and I loved it, and finally I was sort of good at something, because I'd always been bottom set for English because of dyslexia, bottom set for maths. I was okay at some of the other subjects, quite sporty, but not good enough to be an athlete. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden I found this thing that I was quite good at showing off.
Yes.
Oh, what a lovely thing for a child to be. Watch me some more. So I started doing that, and then I got into tap dancing and did a bit of singing. And then I was like, oh, this is the thing that I want to do more than anything. So I went to drama school, and I loved it. And again, first time in my life, I was like, I'm good at this. Oh my God. And I found people that are like me. And I think like during that time I sort of came out as well, and so I think that sort of as a kid I was like, I wasn't very good at school, and then I always had this secret that I knew I was gay, so it felt like I was always sort of carrying this sort of backpack of shame that I was like, oh God, I hope no one realises that I'm different. And then I sort of came to London, and it sort of seemed like this amazing place where you could be anyone you wanted, and I was with these very creative people, and I didn't feel like I was sort of a loser anymore. And then I left drama school, didn't get any work, feeling like a loser, came back, and then I found stand-up.
Yeah. It's interesting. So did your family, were they surprised when you came out, or do you think they had worked it out?
I think some of them weren't. I think my mum was a bit, but I think that's just because she had sort of just imagined a different life for me. And like my parents didn't know any gay women. No. They knew a couple of gay guys, but my dad said that I was the first lesbian he'd ever met. Right. And I mean...
Probably you were, or maybe you were, but probably...
No, I mean, I'm definitely not.
No. Might move on, he might not go out very much.
No, he does.
Okay.
But yeah, so I think that it was... a lot of that was related to it, and I think that... I was actually talking to one of my friends about this today. I have sort of realised that I think that's where the stand-up came from, because I wasn't very good in class, and I was... also terrified that people were going to realise that I was gay. I was just like, be the funny one, be stupid, do something mad, get detention for being a dickhead, because that way people aren't going to be focusing on the fact that I haven't got a boyfriend or that I'm a bit awkward around girls or whatever else. So I think that sort of, I think that if I wasn't gay, I probably wouldn't be a stand-up.
And it's still, when I was at school, like, you know, being gay, which I don't think any of us understood what it really was, but it was kind of...
Oh, it was definitely a slur. It was the worst thing someone could say about you, yeah.
And was that still the case?
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
Do you think that's ever going to... Is that
changing?
I think
it's changing now, yeah. I've got a little cousin who is gay, and he's out, and he's at school, and he's just like... If anyone gives him shit, he's like, fuck you. Like, he just doesn't care. Yeah. It's amazing.
It's interesting, because I think everyone feels... You know, I think not everyone, but lots of people feel, you know... as a kid, you're trying to conform in lots of ways. And yet lots of people, you know, feel different than what they're supposed to be. And so I think everyone sort of goes through that, but then to have that additional sort of fear of...
Yeah, I was terrified. Yeah, I was really scared about it all, and I hated it, and I would have done anything to be normal. And I just hated that I was different, and I really wish, like every night I wished that I would wake up normal. Like it's got bleak quite quickly, sorry. But yeah, and I really hated myself for it for a really long time. It was about 8 years of knowing that I was gay before I came out, and trying really hard and having boyfriends and trying really hard to sort of be this thing that I thought was normal. And I just, you know, couldn't do it. It was, you know, and in the end I just had to sort of confront the fact that I was a gay lady.
And was there anyone like on TV or the media that you kind of could look to then? Because I think you probably... Well, I've read you saying that younger people are emailing you and talking to you about they've not come out to their...
Yeah, I get a lot of that, because so the podcast that I do is with Tom Allen. So it's just, he and I were really good friends, and it's just us two gay people talking. You might like it, you might not. See yourself. But we do it, and we've got like a real gay following because of that, and it's lovely. And it's lovely that people get in touch and go, oh... Like, I've not come out yet, but I love this podcast, and I know that I'm gay. But listening to you guys make me feel like I'm normal. And it's like, I would have loved to have had something like that, because there were no gay women in the media. The first gay woman that I knew about was Ellen DeGeneres, and all I knew about her was that she came out and lost everything. Right. And so I was like, never come out. Yeah. She was a hugely successful comic. She had one of the biggest sitcoms in America. She came out. The show was cancelled the following week, and they didn't put out the next 5. They had 5 more episodes left in the series, and they just didn't air them. And and then she didn't have any career for like 3 years, and she had to go back into the clubs. That's the equivalent of like someone who's, you know, as big as like Mickey Flanagan or, you know, Sean Locke or whoever else, like, or Alan Carr, being absolutely huge on TV all the time, and then everyone going, no, we don't like you anymore, no, and then having to go back to like, you know, tiny comedy clubs.
Can't imagine what that would be like.
I'm going to leave. You weren't shamed out of your... You weren't shamed out of your career.
They just realised I wasn't good enough. It's worse in a way, isn't it? At least if I'd been gay, I'd have had something. Could have gone and sucked some cocks or something.
You still could have.
I could have. But it's sort of heartbreaking. You wrote a beautiful thing for The Guardian about being 17 and sneaking off to Brighton with your friend who was a girl and kissing under the pier and stuff and not quite being sure what was going on.
Yeah, we used to go to Brighton so that we could hold hands without knowing anyone.
Yeah.
And we didn't we never
But it's such a when you read something like that, and I guess that again is it's such a it's so weird that anyone would care about who anyone was falling in love with, But when you actually just read something that's as simple and as that, you think, how could anyone be creating problems?
Oh, but people still are quite angry about it.
Yeah.
Like the only shit I ever get online is homophobic.
Right.
And the only time I've not, people assume that being a comic you get heckled all the time, but it doesn't really happen that much. But the only heckles that I've ever received have been, I can fix you, you need a good fucking.
Right.
Like just that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I'm getting a good fucking. It's just not from men. So please don't go home worried about me. Like, oh God, poor cow. All she wants is a good fuck. No, it's. I hope my mum. No, my mum doesn't know how to download podcasts. It's fine. But yeah, it's crazy that people still give a shit.
Yeah. People are dicks.
Yeah.
That's just the problem.
I got bleak with that answer, sorry.
It's okay. No, we're allowed to do it a little bit.
Are we?
Yeah, it's nice to do that a bit, and then we'll get funny again in a minute.
Okay. Let me know when, and I'll...
Okay, I'll let you... I'll do my best. Well, you talk about that as well. I mean, this is, again, the thing I've seen you talk about in your act, but you talk about that kind of idea that a guy sees two women together and thinks he's going to end up with a threesome, which is
that happens.
Hopeful.
Yeah.
You've got to admire the hope of that.
My girlfriend and I were in a club and a guy was like, shall we? And I was like, no, mate. I don't know what about the undercut on the Doc Martens are saying I'm looking for a threesome. I feel like I've made my feelings very clear.
I sort of admire that kind of confidence in someone.
I hate it. I think there's everything that's wrong with the male psyche. Anyway, continue, Richard, continue.
Well, only because I could never go up to someone and assume.
Thank fuck for that. That's awful.
Shall we? I mean, it must work 1 in 1,000 times. Maybe not with two people, but
yeah, maybe.
I mean, 1 in a million with two people. Still worth a crack, isn't it? With the 1 in a million where they both go, actually, we're both a bit tired of lesbianism. We want to do it a bit, but for your entertainment.
Want to keep my hand in.
Yeah. Everyone's just an idiot, aren't they? That's the problem. Everyone's just stupid. But you have used. Well, you've used your real. What your current show is that you're touring now?
Yep, it's called Nocturnal.
Nocturnal. What's that one about? Is that
about
worrying
anxieties? About yeah, it's about. Well, basically, the show sort of came about, or the idea of the show sort of came about because I was doing some new material. I think down at Top Secret or somewhere, and I just said, I've got to a stage in my life where I think if you don't have anxiety, I don't think you're concentrating.
Yeah.
And people laughed, and I was like, oh, I could do a show about that. I could do a show about worries. And so the show's about sort of different sort of worries that I have. I call it my 3 a.m. press conference. And it's, you sometimes have those nights when you're like, it feels like, oh, fucking hell, I've got so much to worry about.
Yeah.
And it can be anything from global warming to will the next series of The Crown be as good as the first two? Because that's a worry. And so, it's so I started thinking more and more about the fact that I'm a real worrier, and it sort of came around about the same time as I had a couple of interactions with this guy that was trolling me quite a lot, and sort of made the connection that maybe I'm becoming more anxious in the world because a man is on Twitter telling me that I should burn in the fiery pits of hell.
Yeah, well, I don't think social media helps all that stuff. I mean, there's so much going in the world that's to worry about anyway, like the world ending
exploding.
In lots of different ways. So it would be weird not to be anxious. I think as you get older, weirdly, I've talked about this last year. I think. Well, I was just waking up at 3 or 4 o'clock and then feeling anxious, and I didn't know what it was about even. But since I've stopped drinking, that hasn't happened again. So that's kind of interesting.
Since I've started drinking, that hasn't happened.
Is it right? I think it maybe works. But if you drink enough, You either got to drink nothing or a lot.
Right.
And if you just knocked out till the morning, then you won't have that horrible kind of...
But you'll wake up with the blues.
Yeah. But it's, yeah, I mean, you know, you do sort of... I worry so much about stuff. I don't know if that's just human or if that's particularly a comedian thing.
I don't know.
Because you're thinking so much about stuff all the time as well. You get time to think about everything.
But I've found from audiences, like, you know, you get the laughs of recognition. I'm like, oh, it seems to be a... I don't know whether we worry more now because we have access to everything that's happening in the world at the click of a fingers. So we know so much about what's happening in a way that we maybe didn't 50 years ago.
Well, but also I think you hear all the stories about everything, and then and everything that's wrong is everyone extrapolating from something that happens to 1 in a million people.
Yeah.
And thinking, oh my, you know, no one was worried about children being abducted in the 1970s. There must have been the same number of kids being abducted, and kids were abducted, but no one was going, you can't go out and play in the streets on your own. And now everyone's so worried about this thing that actually, you know, and so am I, so you don't let your kids go out and play. But, you know, if you did let them go out and play, they'd probably be all right. If you lose one, your life's a little bit easier anyway. So it's just have a couple, you know, just 2 or maybe have a third one. Oh, no. The danger is you have the third one in case that happens, and then it doesn't happen. You're lumbered with
3 of the buggers.
Yeah, I mean, probably just have 1 child and really look after it. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm doing with the cat.
Yeah, that's exactly. But imagine, you know, it is the same. So I'm absolutely, all the time I worry about, you know, if I'm out of the room, I kind of worry someone's going to smash the windows and grab the kids. You know, it's just sort of insanity. But I don't know whether we're so terrified of everything because it's pushed in our faces, and actually, you know, those things aren't really very likely to happen, you know.
I also think because of, like, going on Twitter and stuff, like, if you go onto Twitter, it's so much like, rah, just people shouting and being angry.
Yeah.
Rather than, like, here's a recipe for a cake.
It used to be nice, you know, Twitter.
Yeah.
Were you there when it was nice?
No.
It was really good.
Instagram's quite nice.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do that? It's the one with the photos? I
don't really do that. I've got an Instagram account. I don't know what it's called or what the password is. I did post things there for a little while, mainly pictures of my cock, and then no one wanted to. No, I would never do that. Sound more suspicious. I'm not Joel Dommett, so I'm not that guy. I feel like you've you know, in Edinburgh terms, you've done 5 or 6 shows. You've done 5
yeah.
one-person shows.
Yep, and I'm going back up to Edinburgh.
And you've not been nominated for any of the awards, have you? Because you've been up. Like, my wife saw your show in must have been 2017.
Yeah.
And she came out going, she's definitely going to get nominated, and that's what we're hearing.
That's happened a few times.
Yeah,
People have gone, you're getting nominated. God, bad news.
It was the same as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's again.
I've had a lot. I've had like the judges in lots and stuff like that.
So you've been really close.
Yeah, but I've never won anything, and I know that you've said that until you started winning all the Chortle Awards.
Yeah.
But I've never been nominated or won anything. I think the last thing I won was like a swimming gala.
Right.
These shoulders don't quit.
It's difficult because, Pete, you feel... I mean, I think Edinburgh, again, makes this, again, worse than it is, but it feels like a competition. It feels like that's an important thing. It feels like if you don't get nominated in Edinburgh...
Then you've lost.
Then
because also you don't choose whether you're in... You don't say, oh, I will opt in to be in the group of people that can be nominated. You go up and all of a sudden you're in this race that you didn't apply to be a part of. And then what's happened to me a few times is that 3 weeks into the festival they go... Just so you know, you're still in that race. You go, oh, am I? Oh, maybe I could be someone that does quite well in this race. Oh, you're still in the race. And then, like, 2 days before the awards announced, you're still in the race. You're like, oh, my God, this race is going very well. And it went well last year, and it went well the year before. So maybe this time I'll be, I didn't do very well in the race. I broke my ankle at the last moment. So, yeah, so it's a weird thing.
But in a way, I mean, I sort of feel glad in a way that none of it ever happened for me, because I think it may be true of you as well, is you just keep coming back and doing the shows, and then you get much better at what you're doing. And
I think
you're touring the shows, and you're a really excellent stand-up.
Oh, thanks.
And so it doesn't matter that nobody has kind of gone, here's your official validation that you're.
Yeah, but I would love that.
Of course. But everyone.
I would love someone to go, do you know what? Here's an award because you're funny and lovely.
Yeah.
And so here you go. And I'm like, oh.
Everyone, I'll give you. You can have a copy of Christmas emergency questions because it's
you.
February. What for being good? No, it's in a way, it's that. Well, we were talking about it backstage about that, touring and building up your audience, and you've been building up your audience via your podcast, and you can viably tour.
Yeah,
as
which
a stand-up,
is amazing.
which is a rare thing.
Yeah, and
so
like
it's a slow process though.
But I feel like when I sort of started that, I had friends that sort of had a really sudden, they were massive, they were huge names. And they all sort of coped with it really well, and they were good enough to turn out loads of material. But I'm really pleased. It took me quite a long time to sort of learn how to be good enough, and I really played all of the clubs. I've played most cities across the country. I've driven everywhere. And I've done loads and loads of tour support. I've done maybe 200 dates for Josh Widdicombe, and supported Alan Carr and supported Romesh. And so spent so much time sort of going on. And when you're the opener, you're like, oh, hi, none of you have paid for me, and I'm actually in the way of the person that you want to see, and you've got to listen to me for 20 minutes. But I think because I did so much of those, hundreds of those sorts of dates, I got really good because I was like, I have to make these people like me, so I'm going to work really hard. So that 20 minutes. And now I seem to get lots of people coming to my tour shows that are like, we saw you open for Josh Widdicombe 4 years ago, and we've sort of kept an eye on you, and now you're touring yourself. So I think that it's taken me sort of quite a long time to sort of get to a stage where I can tour, but I think I'm so much better for it.
Yeah, I think it's true. I mean, I think it's hard for anyone to get discovered really quickly anyway.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of just excellent stand-ups as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the problem.
Yeah, I know. Should we kill them?
As opposed.
Sorry, don't record that bit.
But as opposed to the 90s, when it was, everyone would sort of get their turn,
Yeah.
And there's too many people for you to get your turn.
Yeah, it feels, that's the thing, in Edinburgh, it feels sort of like you got to get the channels in, and you got to get the production companies in, and they've got to know that you exist, and on the day that they come in, you've got to really hope that the audience are good, and that you're good, and that you're having a good day, and the audience are having a good day, so that they can go, hey, you're one of those people that always has good days, we should put you on TV.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you go, no, they came to the one where I wasn't having a good day.
Yeah, that happens to me. But you've done Live at the Apollo, and you're doing lots of TV now, and you're in a travel show, which
I am.
I was talking to London Hughes about last week, and she was saying how difficult it was for women to get on these shows. So that you're doing, admittedly, one within the UK on a bus, but it's a start.
Hey, yeah, I'm doing the comedy bus with Joel Dommett. We're currently travelling around the country. Me, Joel Dommett, Ian Sterling, Tom Allen, Darren Harriott, and Kiri Pritchard McLean are travelling around the country in a minibus. Yeah. And going to each other's hometowns.
Is it a minibus? I hoped it'd be like a big double-decker bus, like in
No,
some
it's
holiday.
not a double-decker bus. It's also not really a minibus. It's a bus that has a bar in it.
Oh, does it?
That's the best thing about it. And from the first day, we were drinking quite a lot, to the point where we were like, we probably should hang back on the gin because this is being filmed for the telly. So, but it's really, really fun.
Cool.
And Joel, who you're interviewing next, is just with brilliant people who are really good friends, and you have a really good time with them. So yeah, it's really fun. Cool. We're really lucky to be part of it.
And when's that going to be on?
In April on Comedy Central.
It's already been out for people at home.
When is this going out?
Oh, ages away now.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I'm really playing the card that I don't like you tonight. I really do.
I know. We're having. It's fine. It's them that's weird.
I think they're all right.
Yeah, they are good.
I love you. You thought more people were going to join in. I regret that.
Right, I'm going to go early emergency questions because there's, what about this? Yep. Would you rather have a tit that dispenses talcum powder?
That's what they want.
Yeah. They haven't heard this for a long time. They've been starved of this question. Or a finger that can travel through time.
Finger that can travel through time?
Of course. Where would your finger go?
Everywhere.
Where would be the first port of call? It's only your finger can go. You can look through and see what it's doing.
Well, but I can't be there. I can just have a look.
Your finger's there. Your finger's in the past or the future. There's a little hole round it you can peek through and see what it's doing.
Like a glory hole.
Well, if your idea of a glory hole is a
It's a
finger.
penis! I'd quite like to go into the future to see what I'm up to.
Okay.
Oh, but then wouldn't it be horrible if I was like, me in the future and I was in
Yeah.
a coffin? That'd be terrible.
I mean, you will be in it. Well, you know, unless
What?
we might all be wiped out in some kind of mass event that means your body will disintegrate or rot naturally. But presuming civilization holds together, actually, no, you're maybe young enough to live forever because there's a generational point at which point humanity will basically become immortal. I mean,
I'm not that young.
you might be young enough.
I might be the oldest young person.
You could be. You could be the last one who survived, and then you'll be really old, and everyone else will also get old, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's kind of how it works, isn't it?
Oh, fuck, I'll have the tit.
Okay. Look, there's some good questions in the old days. If you had to marry a Muppet, do you remember?
Yep.
Do you know what the Muppets are?
Yeah, mate.
You didn't know any of the stuff from the 70s that I mentioned backstage. If you had to marry a Muppet, which Muppet would you marry? You can go into Sesame Street as well if you want, or the Furchester Hotel, just because I want to marry Fenella from the Furchester Hotel.
Okay, in Muppet Island Christmas Carol,
Oh, yeah, good choice.
there's a bit where Fozzie Bear's doing the stand-up.
Okay.
Do you know that bit where he's
Yeah.
like, oh, God, this is harder than I thought? And I was like, yeah, it is. And Kermit goes, myth, it's a myth. And this little waitress goes, yes? And I'd marry her.
The waitress. That's a good answer.
Because, someone that can do a lot with a little part. It's the sign of a real actor, isn't it?
Very good. Which celebrity would you like to stroke your hair as you die? If you are going to die, we haven't
we haven't worked that out yet, have
made
we?
that assumption.
Leonardo DiCaprio?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Some reactions in the room.
the appeal of Leonardo?
I mean, what's not the appeal of Leonardo?
Well,
I just think that he seems like a good guy.
he's got a bit of a.
And he's lovely looking.
He's got a sprout face. His face literally looks like a sprout. They've just painted a face on. And increasingly, as you get older, that is even truer. His face, the outside of his head, has grown.
I think
but
you've
his
lost your
face-
fucking mind.
His face.
No, I think
You know those little? Do you remember those little scrunchy up faces? You put two fingers in there, and they were like scrunchy up face. That's basically what Leonardo DiCaprio looks like. And increasingly as he gets older.
Well, I want him.
Okay.
And his sprout face.
Would you go straight for Leonardo DiCaprio?
What do you mean? Oh, go straight for him,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I thought you meant, would you go straight for him to stroke your hair as you were dying? I was like, yeah, I've just said that, Rich, come on. Would I go straight for him?
Yeah.
Yeah, like for a bit, but then I'd probably be like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm bored of that.
So, if Leonardo DiCaprio came up in your club and said, "How about it?" Would you?
What, shall we?
Yeah, shall we?
I think for my girlfriend would be like, absolutely. And I'd be like, yeah, you're right, Bab, let's go. But you've got to get the Uber, that sort of thing. So he knew I was a lady, do you know what I mean? Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! God, I thought, oh dear, we're gonna have to wrap up. So you've just done the Now show.
I have.
I've been having so much fun. This hour has flown by.
Oh, that's good.
So are you doing? Have you done the Now show before?
Yeah, I've done it a couple of times.
Yeah.
To varying success.
What did you do about in the Now show you've just done?
I did it about some MPs leaving Labour
Oh yeah.
and the shit that they were getting on Twitter.
Yeah, remember that, people at home? Remember that period?
I don't know why you've brought up a topical news show.
Because I'd be interested to see what they think of it in the future. What I love about topical
In the
comedy
future,
now,
they'll be going, oh my God, do you remember when the Labour Party existed?
But even in
that dates it.
6 weeks, 7 weeks, however long this takes to go out, just things have changed so much.
Yeah. Been through 6
The
Home
independent
Secretaries by
group
then.
have split up into 11 independent groups of 11 different people. They've gone back and forth. That's what's happened. We might be Brexited, we might not have. Do you think we're going to Brexit?
Oh, I don't know. I don't want to. I think we might have
The
to.
people at home know the answer.
I wish I could put my finger into the past now,
that's
and the
why
future now.
It'd be good to know.
It's fucked.
I think Theresa May wishes she could put her finger in the future. Probably just into her own brain and pull it out. And I don't. What do you think she's gonna? I just sort of. I mean, I don't worry about her because I don't like her. But what does she think she's going to get out of this? She's just
Power.
No, because she's going to get, the minute she's done it, she's kicked out. So she'll be the person who's remembered as the architect of whatever comes up.
Yeah.
It would have to be an amazing
It's like
success.
how Graham Lineham's going to be remembered.
Right.
Like he'll briefly be like, he wrote those great sitcoms. They'll be like, Drew became a massive transphobe. What a cunt. so fucking liberals. But that's what, it's what, but so yeah, Theresa May's going to have a similar thing.
Yeah. I just don't see, I would just, if I was her, I would just go, oh, fuck the lot of you.
Oh, yeah.
Stick this Brex up your ass. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
You sort it out,
like,
Jacob Rees-Mogg, you cunt.
Oh, yeah. He's the worst, isn't he?
Yeah.
I hate him.
Or any of them, like Michael Gove, who just was going,
he's got such a
there's
weird
no guarantee
face.
that we're going to be able to have any business after Brex. You told us it'd be all right.
I know.
Anyway, well, there probably are no podcasts in
Future.
In 2 months.
This is never going to go
It's
out.
probably never going to go out.
What a waste of time.
It was a terrible, terrible waste of time. Oh dear. Well, so where can people see you then? Are you going to be touring for the rest of 2019?
Yeah, I'm going to be touring. I've got my tour's up until May. I don't know if it's be out before May, probably not. And then I'll be in Edinburgh for the summer.
Oh, you're doing Edinburgh?
Yeah.
New show?
Yep.
You've written the new show?
Written bits of it.
Have you?
Yeah.
Do you have a theme for this show, or is it just going to...
No, just the title.
What's the title?
Dance Like Everyone's Watching.
Okay, I like it.
Vague, isn't it? Nice and vague. Whatever happens, it can get shoved in.
I did Lord of the Dance Settee. Very similar.
I saw that show.
Yeah.
Oh, that was one of my first years in Edinburgh. I remember coming to that show.
Wow. Yeah, so we can see we're going to be doing some rehearsals in Edinburgh as well.
Bless you.
Hopefully. Cool. Well, look, we're going to have to wrap it up.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much.
I've liked this podcast for a long time. It's
Good.
very nice to be. It's very nice to come on and not intentionally, but I have just been quite mean to you. And let me tell you, I've had a lovely time.
Good. It's what the youngsters do. It's my job. It's what the youngsters and the oldsters do. It's only people who are exactly the same age as me who treat me with any respect.
Well, I'm sorry for that.
I like it. That's why I come on here for lesbians to insult me, and that is...
I can ring round a camera if you want.
Thank you. Don't bring her up. We'll talk about Pointless in the next podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, do go and see Susie. She's absolutely fantastic stand-up, and she deserves every award in the book and definitely will win in Edinburgh this year.
Oh, don't say that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Susie Ruffle! Yeah, let's go. Thank you. We'll be back next week. How'd you like them sky potatoes?